Before going to sleep, the protagonist in our story goes through a strict, obsessive routine, pressing the door until it clicks, checking the handle, ensuring the frame is perfectly flush so that no darkness can leak into the room. This is a manifestation of the zone of control, a human tendency to use simple, physical barriers to manage abstract psychological anxiety when we are most vulnerable. But the paranoia here runs deep. The narrator checks the closet twice, sometimes 3 times. There is no rational provocation for this, no draft, no noise, only an ambient unease that demands physical confirmation. This entire ritual relies on a flawed assumption that a physical door can guarantee a safe, impenetrable physical space. That control shatters with a single sound, a soft click in a quiet room, followed by the closet doors swinging open on its own to reveal a thin, dark line. The protagonist relies on a standard investigative defense mechanism. They stay securely in bed, maintaining a safe distance, and use their phone's flashlight to pierce the dark. The light sweeps over ordinary things: clothes, hangers, shoes. Seeing these mundane objects allows the protagonist to rationalize the event as a draft of wind or overthinking, prompting them to shut the door and return to bed. Visual confirmation provides a deadly false sense of security. It blinds the observer to threats that do not operate by standard physical rules. When the closet opens a second time, the escalation is immediate. The door swings wider, revealing a blackness that stretches beyond the bedroom wall into an infinite space, ignoring the physical limits of the house. Then a shape moves. A figure steps forward out of the absolute blackness, crossing the threshold. The story draws a sharp contrast here. The protagonist lies completely paralyzed in bed, breathing heavily, while the entity moves with a calculated, fluid pace into the bedroom. The outline matches the narrator's height. The shape is identical. It is an exact physical replica, except its smile is entirely wrong. The closet functions as a reactive environment that weaponizes the observer's own physical form against them. The crux of the confrontation happens in their brief dialogue. The entity whispers that the protagonist didn't check inside. Desperate, the narrator insists they did. The entity corrects them. No, you only looked. This diagram maps the observer's trap. The left side is passive observation. The right is active participation. A flashlight from the outside bounces off the perimeter. The space remains unconquered. But physically stepping into the darkness claims the territory, bypassing barriers entirely. The entity leans its face inches from the protagonist, declares, "I went in," and the narrator's entire sense of reality drops out. Keeping a safe distance offers zero protection in this scenario. It simply surrenders the territory to whatever entity is brave enough to occupy it. Suddenly, the replica vanishes. There is no movement and no sound. A terrifying vacuum replaces the threat, making the room seem completely empty again. Frozen in bed, trying to process what just happened, the protagonist makes a fatal, compulsive mistake. They slowly turn their head to observe the open closet one more time. The immediate consequence of that glance is severe. Inside the dark, there is no longer a single shape. 2 distinct figures are now standing, watching, and waiting. This flowchart breaks down the mathematical rules of the closet. Every act of fearful observation triggers a direct replication. Looking at the threat literally multiplies it. The closet functions as a recursive mirror. It converts the protagonist's passive attention directly into exponential physical threats. The story ends on a brutal cliffhanger. One of those 2 new entities steps out of the closet and into the room, guaranteeing the horror cycle will begin again. The monster in this room represents any terror or anxiety that we refuse to directly confront and step into. A standard human survival instinct dictates that we must always keep our eyes on a threat. The architecture of this story punishes the protagonist for doing exactly that. Staring endlessly into the darkness doesn't keep the monsters at bay. It gives them the room they need to multiply.